Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Legacy of the Void campaign on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries of StarCraft 2 of Epilogue. And in this episode, we continue on with the first mission of Epilogue, playing as the Protoss. I have finally set up the other parts of my base that I needed to, allowing me to actually defend my base from encroaching units.
Void forces.
Yes, the Void forces. I don't know how those Marines got through this force that I have up here, but they did some damn how, bastards. Now, you may be wondering if it's actually worth it to secure these forward positions. Yes. Very specifically, it makes it so that Raynor and Kerrigan can actually supply, well, rather Raynor and Stukov can actually supply us with additional forces as damage sponges for our annihilators. It is very important that you recognize that, unfortunately, you realistically can't do this mission on your own, even if you really want to. I mean, I know you want to, but you really can't. It's just not a thing that you can do. Also, I finally get to show off how awesome Havocs are. Havocs are... You see that red field around the Havocs?
Yes.
That is a damage increase field. All of the units that you have that are in that red field deal increased damage per second. I don't know how much damage per second it's increased, and spacing out your Havoc so that they're actually involved in combat is a fucking nightmare. So I don't actually ever want to have this many Havocs in a force. But I don't have access to sentries anymore, so I've got to use these Havocs as support units. It does not bind Tassadar here, but it binds the person that is using Tassadar as a guise here. Yeah.
Fucking Narud. The wizard takes on ever more hideous forms.
And this is one of the smaller problems that the Havocs have. Because they have a shorter attack range than our Annihilators, they end up stumbling over our Annihilators and our Centurions all the goddamn time. Fuck pathing. You think that, well, since we're all the way at the end of StarCraft 2 now, pathing would be a mostly solved issue. And it's mostly solved, it's just not solved quite well enough for my tastes. Also, this ghost is attempting to do something. Let's throw sentinels at it. Oh, Mutilisks. Shadow Cannon. Shadow Cannon.
The Queen of Blades can only spread suffering. She is the enemy of all life.
Well, she was the enemy of all life, and then she killed Arcturus, so now she's, being decent. Or at least somewhat decent.
Really? No snippy comeback, Kerrigan? No word of retort?
She's not here. Kerrigan is on her Leviathan, supplying support for Stukov.
Sarah, I'm sending over a few of my troops to help. Artanis, if you want to jump on in, we'd be much obliged.
We're attempting, but we gotta, generate more annihilators because our forces are not actually strong enough to push all the way up here. Also, the glowing red exclamation point. Yeah, that is a Void Thresher, and I'm having difficulty figuring out if I want to actually throw units at it or not.
Is this the best you have, Narud? Time for you to die again.
All right, so that was about 1 minute and 10 seconds delayed, but yeah, that sounds like a pretty good snippy comeback / retort. Yay!
Well, again, she's not actually responding to Narud there. She's just responding to the fact that the Void Thresher isn't making as much progress against Kerrigan as it's supposed to.
Yeah, everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you. Video stopping. Yeah.
Again, I was not having this problem while I was playing it, but apparently OBS did not like me recording it.
No, it did not. No, it did not.
But there, this Void Thresher is down.
The Thrasher has fallen.
And so too has my refresh rate.
Well, not my refresh rate, but my capture rate. Totally different things.
Jesus Christ. Oh, okay, and I guess now we are just, now we're stuck here.
Or we should only be stuck here for a couple of moments.
Okay, what? Oh my Christ. So the epilogue has wrought havoc on President Gerdat's patience. It also has wrought havoc on Past Gerdat's recording efficacy.
Specifically Past Gerdat's recording, because my patience with this stuff is slightly higher than it realistically should be, simply because I've been dealing with Camtasia's fuck-ups for so fucking long. And I know that this specifically isn't Camtasia fucking up. This is OBS fucking up, but like, it feels like it's Camtasia fucking up, you know?
Kind of picks and chooses its battles, because now it's going pretty smoothly, even though there is a lot of activity on the screen.
Now it's not anymore.
Pushing forward.
Yeah, progress in this level is really gradual.
Yes, it is important that you push all 3 lanes, and it can be difficult to figure out what all 3 lanes actually means. But for the record, it's your center lane. Although your lane is supposed to be the far left one. Then it goes Raynor's center lane, and then it's Kerrigan's center lane. Thing is, Kerrigan's center lane eats up like slightly more than a third of the map, so it can be a bit iffy. Actually, making sure that her stuff isn't, you know, at risk.
This warrior awakens. You call upon me.
They killed my pylon, Past Cloud. I must take vengeance for it. After all, you continue pushing the center. I'm pushing the center right now specifically so that we can try and get the last forward position, because the other Void Crystal / Void Catalyst on the Kerrigan side of the map is after this forward position.
Defense is down. This is it, Narud. This time, you don't come back.
Which is true, mostly because we don't have StarCraft 3 yet. And given where Blizzard is at the moment, we're likely not to get StarCraft 3.
Oh, don't say that. I mean...
Dude, Blizzard has replaced their entire development team, like, more than twice over the past 5 years, okay? And Legacy of the Void was one of the last actual good products that they put out. Like, there was some really good hype around Legion specifically, and there was some pretty good hype going into Shadowlands, but Shadowlands itself has not been actually good. Legion ended relatively weak. Who else can we honestly trust with? Who else would the general public be willing to trust with the StarCraft IP?
Put it to you this way. Like, what do you think would be a good improvement on the StarCraft formula that we've seen? Because
we don't need an improvement on the formula, to be perfectly honest.
It has to evolve.
Which is another reason why I don't think we're going to get StarCraft 3. I mean, the ending specifically wants us to believe that StarCraft 3 is going to happen, but we realistically don't honestly, you know, we have story elements to continue on with, certainly, but we don't really have gameplay expansions that StarCraft would actually be comfortable with. I am still waiting for StarCraft to have a similar unit count that the Total Annihilation has got, and that just straight up isn't going to happen. And we know this because the dev diary for StarCraft 2 was rather explicit. Every time they developed a new really cool unit for the players to use, it ate up specific roles that they wanted other units to fulfill. So they're not gonna do expansion on unit concepts unless they're significantly more unique than they already are, which isn't a thing that they're really willing to put a dev time into. A lot of the dev time for StarCraft 2 went into a presentation went specifically into presentation as opposed to creative unit design and diverse unit abilities.
Okay, so it may not come out in the next 2 years. It might not come out in the next 10 years, but eventually there will be a StarCraft 3.
Cloud, it took them 10 years to come out with StarCraft 2.
It will be another 10 years before they come out with StarCraft 3.
It's already been another 10 years since they had the ability to come out with StarCraft 3.
Gerdat, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped came out on PS1 in 1998. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, came out on PS4 in 2020.
And you're forgetting the legacy of Crash games that happened before then.
But none of them were considered to be core canon.
Yes, they were. Wrath of Cortex and Twin Sanity were core Crash games until It's About Time and the remasters came out. Just because they weren't looked upon favorably and weren't well received doesn't mean that they weren't core Crash games, Mr. Cloud.
Well, then they should have called it like Crash 6 or Crash 7, but no,
they
called it Crash 4.
But they weren't going to do that because pretty much a majority of the fan base and the developer base wanted to ignore the agility of Crash's expanded legacy. I don't really blame them for wanting to ignore it, but it was stupid of them to do so.
All they're trying to say is that by the time you get to Crash Bandicoot 4, you are allowed to ignore the other content in the series. You don't have to play Twin Sanity or Wrath of Cortex to understand what's happening. If you'd played the core 3 games, which I'm sure most Crash fans have done, like me, I didn't really go into Wrath of Cortex or Twin Sanity, that you already have all the lore and information you need to understand what's going on.
Get some bunkers down.
That's all I'm saying. That's why they use numbers.
This warrior awakens.
All right. Trying to bypass an argument that I'm not going to win. We are very close to actually finishing this mission. We just have to actually make sure our primary base doesn't actually end up dead. Here, lance them. There.
Boom. That itch on my back. Scratch it. With lasers.
Unfortunately, we lost one of our robotics facilities, so now we can only warp in one annihilator at a time. I really wish that the warp harmonization gave our additional warp buildings like actual charges for warps, but they don't. They only allow us to warp in one unit at a time. Okay, with the Void Crystal down and one of the Catalysts down, now we're just waiting for Kerrigan to actually, or Kerrigan and Stukov rather, to throw their stuff at the points, because that is what we need to get done.
Yeah, where the heck is everybody?
They're here, they're just not, doing the thing at the moment.
The rise of the Fifth Bay. Look to the east and see my coming.
Blow up the Void Rift.
Measurable
what
progress.
I'm pushing over here specifically for is to get down this Void Crystal, because this Void Crystal has been eating away at this pylon, eating at one of my Reconstructor beam charges.
Yep, you have to. That's how you effectively take control of the area. Is you gotta wipe out the Void Crystals.
Okay, now with that Void Crystal down, fake Tassar is telling us to liberate him again. We're trying, damn it.
Right,
all right, Kerrigan. Your entire area is fully liberated now.
Right, to think
now,
that
help us push down Narud, please.
Jim Raynor is here, and he saw Zeratul visions in Wings of Liberty. We haven't heard a peep out of him. This sounds kind of fishy. Best take it with a grain of salt, as my pappy used to say.
I think most of his relative stuff actually comes from his grandma, but.
Very well. So be it.
We're waiting for time stop now.
All right, there he is. There's a big baddie. Let's go smell.
All right, now we have time stop. Let's go.
Swarm had one purpose.
Kerrigan, you wanna send your units in, please? Please, Stukov. I loves you, but you can't just sit here.
See, I always thought that Nerud's voice style for human Nerud, when he was human, that he was like dripping with evil. But now I see where that flavor all had gone is into a freaking monster.
All right. So now that the Void Thresher is up again, now Stukov and Kerrigan are sending in forces. Charge!
Now let's press forward while we still can.
All right, hit the time stop button. Time stop button hit. Kill. So from here, all we really need to do is a solar lens these rifts, which will do enough damage to blow them up. Then take down the last rift. Then take down the forces here, so we can focus down Nerud.
Even Nerud is frozen by time stop. That's funny.
Yeah.
Use your core
Please note that the
recharge
game timer
powers.
says 32.5 minutes, and our base is under attack again.
It's fine. We're at the end. If you've been following along with the tropes of the campaign, all you have to do is complete the main objective.
Yeah.
And
not
here we
die
go.
doing it, but yeah.
Hello, Gwen. Do you remember what you did to me? You have come to gloat, haven't you?
Of
I love
course
this
I
scene.
have.
No. I've come to say good night, you
Son of a bitch.
Vengeancing.
Yes, and in the next part, revelations, and not the biblical ones.
Ugh.
You must come to
Be safe, everybody.
Yeah.